welcome to Whiskey Tango Talks. All right, so I brought you on today. You want to introduce yourself, actually? Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. What do you want me to say? Hi, I'm Christalyne.
Yeah.
People call me Causey.
Why do they call you by your last name?
Because my first name's hard to pronounce.
Christalyne?
Mm-hmm.
It's really not that bad, but...
But most people just call me Causey.
Gotcha.
Don't know my first name at all.
How would that sound? Probably good. All right. Brought you on because I saw that you recently became a doctor.
I did.
And to me, like, med school is one of those things where it's like, ugh, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing, like just due to how much school these days kind of cost. So, like, with that being said, like, what made you go the route of wanting to, so you do esthetician and what else?
I'm also a clinical nutritionist.
Okay.
So, like, when I say that, I'm a registered dietitian, but I have a master's degree in clinical nutrition.
Okay. I think on your Instagram page it said, I always mispronounce this,
endocrinology. So,
Okay.
that's actually, I have a PhD versus an MD,
Okay.
which is more research based. It's still within the medical field, but I originally thought I was going to go into academics. I really wanted to be a researcher and to teach.
Teaching
to
eventually.
be like a college professor.
Wow. Why would you want to go that route?
I love teaching. I was a GTF my first round of grad school. Always taught anatomy, physiology, and I fell in love with it. I've taught community classes, done a little bit of adjunct work, but I wanted to be like a full-on professor.
Huh. Why'd you go the route of like dietitian, nutrition, and stuff like that?
Honestly, I did that because I always thought that I would go into med school, but I graduated really young. I was 19 when I finished my undergraduate degree, and I just wasn't ready for that level of commitment. But I got a job at a hospital in a full ride to do this graduate program, and I was like, oh, why not?
So you're not going to pay back a bunch of student loans then? Or?
Not as much as most people
Right.
who have my level of education. Up until like this past year, I never took out a loan. But I really wanted to finish school. So I just bit the bullet and tried to plow through.
So undergraduate 19, and you completed when?
I completed my master's program at 22, and then I took a bunch of time off and went back nearly 4 years ago for this doctorate program.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So some of your posts, you're big on nutrition and diet, and was that like how you kind of got into wanting to do shows for? Was it bikini or physique or?
I was a bikini competitor. Well, I don't really consider myself a competitor. I did one show.
One show.
And like I decided last minute that I was gonna do it, so I didn't do like the traditional drawn out 12 to 16 week prep.
I don't blame you.
So, I mean, it was.
You normally just eat really well, anyways.
I do. I'm pretty consistent. At that point, I was not probably working out as much as most competitors. So I went from working out like maybe 1 to 2 days a week and bumped it up to 4, and I immediately shredded down.
Oh.
So I did like 150 minutes of cardio total the whole time.
Yeah, there's women out there that hate you right now.
I know. But it just goes to prove, it show that like you don't need to starve yourself or spend hours in the gym to actually do those shows.
I don't disagree unless you're a male over 40. Just due to the fact that like men store fat in their lower love handle areas, so it's like kind of gotta.
Yeah, if you go in with a
start.
strong foundation,
Yeah.
it's way easier and you don't have to kill yourself.
Right.
I think a lot of people completely screw themselves up going into it, and then each time it's harder and harder, so they have to do more and more rather than taking a step back and being like, okay, I'm going to go into this as healthy as possible and making small adjustments along the way. I work with a lot of competitors post-show. I haven't prepped
Why
anybody.
post-show?
They're usually coming to me messed up.
Trying to get back on balance hormone-wise,
Yes,
or
they throw
food too, or?
all of it. I work with a lot of disordered eating. It's been in my past, so they'll come to me with
Not eating enough, overeating, what?
all of it. Like binge eating is a huge one for competitors.
Gummy bears, donuts, that's it for me.
They
That's
go
what I'm trying
into
to
this
think.
like restrictive pattern going in, and afterwards they just let loose, and it becomes kind of this vicious cycle where it's restrictive, let loose, blow up. They're throwing their hormones off. There's a lot of psychological damage that comes with it, and it's hard to break those patterns.
Well, you ready to talk about hormones? Because I'm excited for this.
Okay.
I told you I was going to bro science the shit out of this.
Okay, let's
No.
do it. Let's do it.
Well, so for women, what usually is thrown off when they come out of a competition that you've seen? Is it estrogen levels? Is it due to extracurricular supplements? Like, you can just be open. You're good. We've talked about a lot of this on the show already, so.
Okay, a lot of it, and
You don't have to name names.
I'm not going to name
Okay.
names because I will be run out of town.
Right.
A lot of it has to do with extracurricular supplements.
Mm-hmm.
They're also under eating and over exercising. So they're coming in with estrogen levels that are absolutely bottomed out. A lot of them are put on estrogen blockers. And
And for men, it's what, estradiol that converts into estrogen, or is a form of estrogen?
yes.
Yeah, that usually once they come off of a show, it rises, right?
Well, your body has a natural checkpoint. So a lot of
Okay.
them have been taking testosterone along the way, or some level of gear to kind of boost results.
For those that don't know gear, I know gear because obvious, but
Synthetic testosterone.
there we go.
Basically.
All right.
And what happens is like once your free testosterone gets to a certain level, it ends up being converted to
You're good.
estrogen.
Okay.
And that's when men then need to get on an estrogen blocker, or they start having the famous side effects of being on testosterone too much.
Right. You have gynecomastia, emotional. What's another big symptom?
Well, like all the emotional issues, basically they start having PMS.
So watching a Sarah McLachlan commercial about the SPA in dogs, and they start crying.
Yeah,
It's
water retention,
Right.
their estrogen levels start to spike. Another thing too is that a lot of them aren't tapering off, and so their body starts to go into withdrawal.
Okay.
And when you're adding more and more synthetic testosterone, you're basically telling your body to shut down its natural production levels. So by not tapering, you're bottoming out.
Okay. So my producer's a girl. He just comes off a show. He's having issues eating. Like, is it like what would cause somebody not to want to eat after rapid weight loss? Is there?
You mean loss of appetite?
Yeah.
Typically, so there are like two main hormones that control hunger. There's ghrelin, which is produced in the stomach, and that's what tells our hypothalamus, our brain, that we're hungry.
Okay.
And then we have leptin, which is produced by fat cells.
That's the one I know.
Yes, that's our satiety hormone.
Okay.
And typically, it should be this way, as you lose weight, you should be producing less leptin, meaning that's why it makes it hard to lose weight, is because now you don't have that checkpoint telling you that you're no longer hungry. You just have ghrelin producing out and making you think that you're hungry. But if you have inflammation in the hypothalamus, those signals can get thrown off.
Inflammation, how would that be caused?
There's a lot of
right?
factors.
Yeah.
Like
That's why I'm big on CBD, actually. Inflammation.
it does help. But lifestyle factors, medications, sometimes it's the food that we eat. So highly processed foods definitely cause inflammation.
Wheat. A lot of wheat.
A lot of wheat.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Oh, and here you're coming off of a competitor's diet, which is usually ridiculously restrictive. So they've been eating like rice, broccoli, and tilapia, no nutritional value whatsoever. They've got massive inflammation.
Right. So let's talk a minute about like diets and fads. All right.
Okay.
So you had like, let's just take it way back. You had like the Atkins diet, right? Like then you have like keto, which to me is Atkins diet, pretty much. And it's like, what is with bitches selling like the skinny teas and like I don't understand. Like you can't substitute hard work and proper nutrition for diets and fads. So I guess like kind of what I'm getting at is like when do you see like a drop off in certain fads, like kind of like the Atkins, the keto, and then what else? There's the meat eater diet.
So
Remember that
carnivore
one?
diet.
Carnivore diet, like, which is interesting because carnivore diet has a lot to do with your nervous system and stuff like that. Like I've heard it's helped with what am I getting at here? I'm trying to think of the name. Autoimmune diseases. The carnivore diet helps with. So, what would you recommend diet wise for somebody trying to lose weight? Are you going to put them on said fad diet or?
I am not a fan of fad diets. I think that any extreme way is just it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. I think that there's some basis in some of the fad diets, like with Atkins and keto and the carnivore diet. Those are all based on the fact that in general, as a population, we eat too many carbs. We eat too many processed foods. And those help restrict us. However, they also eliminate a lot of beneficial foods, like vegetables.
Right. Which I don't understand, because then your fibers in the
Yeah, well, then you end up with side effects like constipation,
right,
dehydration, halitosis. There are definitely some downfalls to.
You said halitosis.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a little personal. There's women out there that have claimed about vaginal issues due to keto diet. Is that something similar from like you said, halitosis? Is it just because it throws off your body's chemistry? Like, what is it? Like,
a lot of the times keto diets help regulate like bacteria. So say if they're experiencing like too much yeast production, that's often from a lot of carbs, sugary foods, processed foods, and that'll help with that. But as far, I don't know any complaints about the meat eat or the
Right.
lower carb.
Okay. Huh. Well, I've always wondered about like the fads and how it just seems like it's a reoccurring theme.
Oh, there's always going to be a quick fix out there.
Yeah.
Because people are uneducated and lazy. So.
Wow. You have so the esthetician. I cannot.
Esthetician.
Yeah, I cannot speak. Part of what you do. How'd that happen? Like, why did you want to get into like?
Me and my roundabout education.
Yeah, right. Like that's why I'm so curious, because it just seems.
That was like postmasters. My grandmother pretty much raised me, and she was the one who taught me all about skincare, sunscreen, wearing a hat out in the sun.
Which I'm horrible about all this.
Most of us are.
Right.
But she ended up getting melanoma on her nose, had it like her whole nose removed, and that's when I really got obsessed with it. And then when I was 23, I was diagnosed with melanoma.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is it like genetic? Like at
Partially
this point,
genetic,
it's like, yeah.
People are more susceptible, and as you can tell, I'm
Fair skin.
blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm like
Gotcha.
the number one person to get it. Anyway, that's what really kicked me into skincare. I didn't do it as a full-time gig though until I was in my doctorate program, because I need something flexible. And I thought that I would, just, this is a way that I can make money while I'm in school. I can rotate it around my school hours and clinicals. And then it kind of blew up.
Well, why don't you give a shout out to your business?
Oh, I own a little spa called Bare Aesthetics.
Okay.
And I do skincare, lashes, and nutrition.
Where are you out of?
Scottsdale.
Scottsdale. Ugh. How's the reality out there for that though? Like, geez, like it's an actual shop, correct? Or
Yeah, I'm in South Scottsdale. It's not that bad.
As bad.
No, I was in North Scottsdale to start with, and that was a lot more expensive.
I don't doubt it. I'm not a fan of that area.
Yeah.
I live out here for a reason. So
Yeah, it's interesting, but I love where I am.
Did it take off? Are you doing all right with it? Like
Yes, it definitely took off. I am celebrating the 1-year anniversary of actually opening. I was just kind of doing my a little side gig before, and then I went full in last
So
September.
how are you running that? And you just got hired on, right? At a clinic? Is it?
I haven't started that yet.
Okay.
That won't start until November.
All
but
right.
actually, that's going to be a merging of businesses.
Gotcha.
So,
Just kind of like a one-stop shop kind of situation.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Like
very
that's,
much.
yeah, that's kind of one of those things. Don't be one of those people that drive yourself into the ground.
That's the past year has been me driving myself into the ground.
Well, I saw you had posted on Instagram about sleeping and all that. Like, we've talked about it several times on the show. Like, I suffer from insomnia, PTSD from military. Like, I recently took up smoking, and I was against it for eons. Like, I maybe smoked a handful of times as a teenager. So, recently just started smoking, and it actually is like the only thing that puts me to sleep. So, like, prior to that, for the last 7 years of my life has been maybe 5 hours a night. Yeah. So it's like, I don't. What helps like somebody regulate sleep better? Do you deal with any of that?
I do. So when somebody comes to me, they have an entire health history that I make them go through. We go over lifestyle, everything, because that plays a huge role in managing their hormones, helping them get over their nutrition issues,
right,
and overall improves health. So it's a full consult. And
so are you going to do like hormone replacement therapy for people?
Eventually.
Eventually?
Yeah.
What kind of licensing is that though? Like there's a lot of doctors that are just like, oh, this amount of much a month and I'll see you. There's that backdoor aspect of testosterone and...
Yeah, and that's where the benefit of merging with a couple of doctors is going to come in, because you really right now hormone replacement therapy isn't that regulated, and I feel bad for endocrinologists who are MDs, because that is a ton more schooling than even I have.
Really?
Oh, it's their residency is so long, because the endocrine system is so intricate. Like, you throw off one hormone and it's just a cascade of effects.
Yeah.
So, like, it's really a deep study.
So 2 years ago, England legalized use of hormones, steroids in general, men and women alike. They deregulated it just due to the fact that they realized, like, people are going to do it.
They are.
They're going to do it regardless.
It's like weed. Like,
yeah, people are going to do it regardless. Like, what do you think it is here in the U.S. that hormones and TRT and everything is so taboo unless it's through a doctor? Is it just because it is so, like you said, it's so, you throw off one hormone. It's very touchy.
It is very touchy, but it's also a huge business.
This is where I wanted to go.
Like, pharmaceutical companies don't make money if it's deregulated.
Right.
So they're going to do whatever they can to keep their finger on the pulse.
See, my thing is like you have insurance companies that fight with pharmaceutical companies because so much insurance pays for pharmaceutical stuff, and then whatever they don't pay, then the customer pays out of pocket. For those that don't know insurance. But like, I think a large part of it is if it's regulated with pharmacies being able to control said hormone, testosterone, whatever it may be, that they're able to keep the price up. If you deregulate it and it's just something you could buy over the counter like Tylenol, you can't charge a certain amount of money.
Yep.
So
that's basically it. And really, pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies run the healthcare industry. I mean, it's not doctors or hospitals. It's a political game. And that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, to the 10th T. Well, how do you feel about HGH?
I have no issues with it. Why some people go on a pregnancy hormone long term kind of makes
HGH is pregnancy hormone?
It's produced
by the pituitary gland, right?
When you're pregnant.
Okay, but I thought for males it's just like, well, you produce certain amount until a certain age, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And actually, we produce it while we're sleeping. I mean, everybody's producing it all the time, but again, when you're putting a synthetic steroid or HGH or anything into your system, you're throwing off the natural balance. And your body naturally has set checkpoints. So you're telling it to shut off, or it's constantly fighting itself because you're putting in too much. So like going on anything like that long term, you're throwing off your natural ability to regulate.
Gotcha. And that's with HGH as well? I didn't know.
With just about everything.
Everything?
Yeah.
Well, I know testosterone's big. You get, men that get testicular atrophy. You get, red blood cell counts too high, which can create stroke and or blood clots. Like, trying to think, bone mass, bone density from HGH is an issue. What was it? Like, I know I did a 9-month cycle of HGH. I grew a whole shoe size and hat size while I was on it.
Wow, that's impressive.
At 30. And so it was like one of those things where I was like, okay, like, time to calm down.
Yeah,
so.
And I don't know a whole lot about it. Like, usually when somebody asks me, I was like, let me do some research first.
Right.
So it's not something that I would typically recommend just because I don't have the background knowledge of it. I would usually refer them to somebody else or, answer some questions before I make any recommendations.
Worst case scenario, like what are some of the adverse side effects you've seen with a client that you've worked with?
There's the growth issues. It also can throw off sleep patterns. And there are, it's usually coupled with a couple of different things. So it's hard to say what the side effects are actually coming from. So I don't think I've ever seen it taken by itself.
Just going to pitch something at you. I think a lot of people have done it and documented it, but like the study of long-term effects of hormones in general, like never really been overly done. Why is that? What do you think?
I think it's a matter of funding, for one. Having just completed my dissertation, I can tell you that it's very expensive to do research. Also, anything like hormones and diet, or anything human sciences, really.
Okay.
It is hard to have enough long-term candidates to get consistent results and to draw any conclusions. Most of the time, they're all correlations, and it's short term. Like, people fall off the wagon.
You want ice?
Yes, thank you.
Fall off the wagons, like not continue it or not.
Yes, most studies, if you have at least a third of the people that start out in, they at least a third of the people fall off the wagon, I should say, or they like just disappear. So.
Okay, so if you don't know who this is, I beg you to do your research on this guy. His name's Dr. Tony Hughes.
I don't know.
It's not his real last name, obviously. But Rob, do me a favor. Pull up Tony Hughes on just the internet. So this guy, he was on Generation Iron. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I have. I've never watched them, but I know what they are.
Well, Generation Iron became a almost like a forum for like bodybuilding and or just different things. It's not necessarily movies anymore. Oh. Now it's kind of like an open platform for talking about supplementation, hormone therapy, bodybuilding. They even have CrossFit shit on there. I don't know why. So they did this movie called Enhanced with Dr. Tony Hughes, and this guy is an actual doctor who literally just obliterates people with steroids, like himself being one of them. In the movie they inject each other. They take all different types of things, HGH. The big one that I want to talk about is insulin use.
Oh yeah, that one's interesting. It's like it is being used more and more.
Look at this guy. He's like 46 years old.
Damn.
Something like that. Yeah. Great body, but he calls himself enhanced athlete. But if you want to mute that, Rob, you can play a little bit of it. But it's ridiculous with the amount of stuff this guy takes and gives people, for that matter. I actually wrote him trying to be one of his guinea pigs, just to kind of see what it was about. But what's your take on insulin and the use of?
I really don't know enough about it.
No?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people benefit from it, but
that aren't on diabetes.
Yeah, that
right?
as well.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I just don't know enough about it to speak on it. Like, there's one thing that I've learned in my higher education is that I don't know shit.
Oh.
Like, that is so, there's so much out there.
It is constantly evolving.
Exactly.
Constantly evolving.
And we all differ so much, it's hard to make strong conclusions about anything.
Yeah.
So I say I don't know a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of my favorite things about like being a gym goer per se is and I've talked about it before, right, Rob, with Zen. I had a world strongman competitor on my show who is 5'3" on a good day, he says, and he's 240 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah, he doesn't fit through doors. Like, he's just a ball of of meat. But like, my favorite thing is there's two first questions you get as a male when you lift weights, and it's what supplements you take and what do you bench. I usually say your mother, but no, I'm joking. For what? No, that's good, right? Good. Yeah. What would you suggest to? Let's just go with a female, obviously, because you're female. What would you say to females that are thinking about taking extracurricular supplementation, whether it be Anavar, Clomid, mainly that's really what women take. I know some women take a low dose of testosterone or get like the pellets put in.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to a woman about that?
Your diet better be on point first.
Diet first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Diet needs to come first, exercise second. If you're still not seeing results, then think about adding to it. But you need to be very, very aware that we are far more sensitive than men, and it is way harder to bounce back. And I mean, if that's still your choice, whatever. But you start low.
Why are women more sensitive?
We just have more fluctuations anyway. And our bodies are geared to produce another human being.
Right.
So
that makes more sense.
Women tend to be far more responsive to everything than men. And when somebody is not seeing results and they're talking about taking these extra supplements, I usually look at their diet and their lifestyle first. And like, there's so much that you can do before you go that route.
Right. It was kind of a flash in the pan, and you brought up diet. Well, not like a fad diet, but it was a flash in the pan kind of fad diet, but blood type diet. How do you feel about? Do you know much about that, or?
Again, I think there is a basis behind it. There is definitely there's definitely differences based on your ancestry. People can, especially from the Far East, can respond a lot better to lower fat, higher carbohydrate diets.
Really? Why Far East? I wonder what that is.
Like any Oriental, they're more, I think, vegan-based diets work really well for them. Northern Europeans, not so much.
Yeah.
Much more fat and protein adapted. So there is
colder climate.
Yeah, there is some
that's
basis
pretty, yeah,
to it.
I can see that.
And blood types do tend to follow those trends. So, I mean, it's not completely factual.
Right. No, but there's a sense of like a geographical like understanding of it. Like you have South Americans or Hispanics, Mexicans. I don't do spicy foods. Like I'm like, okay, salsa, hey, cool, I'll try you. But when it comes to like spicier foods, my body just does. I'm getting severe like acid reflux, heartburn, stuff like that. So yeah, I could see geographically how that works, but
and a lot of it has to do with where you're raised too. Like your gut biome adapts to the food that you're used to taking in.
And how big is gut biome? Because gut health is huge, isn't it?
Gut health is huge. It is huge, and we're fucking it up all the time. So
that's your first F-bomb, by the way. You promised
good for me.
You promised me F-bombs.
Good me.
I was
like, but yeah, our diets are just out of whack, and we're constantly.
As I'm drinking soda and whiskey.
I know.
Right? Yeah.
Well, at least I had sauerkraut beforehand. Right?
I don't even know what the benefits of that is, other than it smells horrible.
A probiotic, basically.
Oh, is it? Uh-huh. Yeah, and keeps mosquitoes away. That's my guess, because nothing wants to eat that blood.
I love it. Sauerkraut. I grew up with it, so it's like comfort food for me. Like I have sauerkraut every day.
Soul food.
Like some people like their fried chicken. I like my sauerkraut.
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer that blood type is it's definitely, it plays a role with hormones. And I try to explain this to my friends. Here's where I'm going to bro science you. Okay. Let's say Deca-Durban, for instance. I don't know if you know what that is. Mm-mm. No. Okay. Deca is a derivative of testosterone. It's a steroid, right? Men that take it claim to have sensitivity issues. Either they're flaccid, they can't get hard because of sensitivity issues, or they'll notice like, oh, my joints feel better. The roundabout way of this is what I try to explain to people. People that take Deca-Durban, they're like, oh, my joints don't hurt. I was told it lubricates your joints. No, it's just numbing the pain, and that's why you have dick issues, because you're numb. Like they think that it's
impairs blood flow, probably.
Right. Or well, yeah, I could see that. What I try to explain to people is blood type. I noticed when I tried it, I had all those symptoms, those issues. I was like, immediately, I cannot do this. Like, it's not for me. My friends, and I'm A positive. My friend that's A negative, same side effects. I have a friend that's B positive and another friend that's B positive, and the way it worked for them was all the proper effects that they were looking for with no adversities. And I tried to explain to them, like, I think it's blood type base. So certain derivatives of, you know, the molecules or whatever it may be might work for B, but it's not going to work for A. Now,
It's highly possible. I don't know it though, but like very similar to I have ADHD and an
you don't say? No, I'm joking. I'm just stupid, so it's all right.
So I have ADHD and I also have 2 autoimmune disorders, celiac and rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay, I know that one. What's celiac?
Celiac is gluten. It's the original gluten allergy. Literally,
So that's actually what I was for Halloween last year. I was a box and I wrote gluten across me. No, I'm joking. No.
But so the cilia in my intestines reacts very negatively to exposure to gluten, and the lining will shed. So it's gluten allergies. I really don't have a whole lot of sympathy for people because I was like, do you really know what it's like?
Yeah.
It's awful.
What are some of the issues with that? Do you have gut pain? What is it like?
Massive gut pain. There's been times where I've been hospitalized for it.
And it kind of like, I know people that eat a lot of gluten have some kind of like joint issues as well.
Yes.
Do you get joint pain? Or
it causes inflammation, and it suppresses your immune system. So almost always after an attack, like within a couple of days, I'll come down with like a cold or the flu, something else, because my immune system's just been messed with.
Okay.
But back to the blood type, so I'm AB positive.
So let's hit you with some Decaderval and see where this goes. No, I'm joking.
I could have some awesome side effects with that.
Right.
Studies that are, very few and far between, but there are some that indicate that certain blood types are more sensitive to a lot of these autoimmune issues. And the ADHD, I don't know so much about that. Coffee has the opposite effect on me than everybody else. Like, it calms me down.
Right.
So I drink it to take a chill pill. But there is some indication that it's linked to that, but nothing's conclusive because it hasn't been studied enough. And that's where a lot of the blood type studies come in. There's no firm evidence of anything, but you can make some guesswork on stuff. We won't know probably for years and years.
Yeah, but they can clone a sheep.
It's who's
when
getting
people
the funding though? What's more important? When I said I wanted to study testosterone in school, suddenly the grants came rolling in.
Really?
Yeah, if I had chosen to study some random hormone.
I almost said something completely inappropriate. I'm just being a guy. In my head, I'm thinking if a guy was to say, anyways, go ahead. I'm not going to get into it. But so, I just picture a male trying to say he wanted to study a female. You wouldn't see grants rolling in immediately. Women produce testosterone too, but I just think a male, saying I want to study a female, it's it wouldn't be the same effect.
It depends on how important or how popular that area of study is.
Right.
When I presented the research that I wanted to do, It was in front of a bunch of aging white males, and they're like, this is important, give her the money. Right.
You should have taught them how to find the clitoris first, like this. No, I'm horrible. I do Rob get together. No, but yeah, no, I could see that. I think it's an important study. The side of work that you're doing is what makes men men and what makes women women. I'm a firm believer in testosterone use after a certain age. I try to tell men all the time that try to talk to me about it. The big thing I hate is when a guy tells me, "Oh yeah, I had my testosterone levels checked, and the doctor says I'm fine." Okay, well, the doctor said you're fine, but and again, this is my bro science. This is just my heart of heart talking to friends. I'm going to use my friend Randy, for instance. I'm not going to say his last name, but he listens to the show from time to time. I will say this. Randy tells me, "Hey, dude, no, I'm good. The doctor says my testosterone levels are where they need to be." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, they're where they need to be for a 42-year-old male, but do you feel like you're 17 anymore?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "That's the problem. Do you want to feel like you're 17? Did you have the energy that you had when you were 22? No? Well, then there's a problem." Like, and that's what I try to explain to people. It's your levels can be high or low, and the doctor's still going to tell you that you're fine.
If that goes for any blood work, though.
Okay.
People don't realize that it's usually a national average done on middle-aged men, and it's not necessarily new data either. And it also varies from lab to lab.
Okay.
So when somebody comes to me, I have a bunch of questions about like their cognitive function, how they're sleeping, their mood, energy levels, all of that. Like, while they may be in a normal range,
yeah,
it doesn't necessarily mean that they're at a good level for them. And I want to also know, like...
No, that's the truth.
Yeah, how often are you getting your hormones tested? When was your last hormone test?
Right.
Because we need a base of where to start with. And a lot of people aren't going in to get their hormones tested until it becomes an issue. So they may have been functioning at a higher rate, and suddenly they're having a drop, but they're still within the normal range. Mm-hmm. And that is low for them, and something is wrong. Or, vice versa. There's some men where the doctors are like, "We need to put you on supplements. You're bottoming out in your levels.
You're at like a 160 when you should be around a 500.
Yeah, and they're like, "But I feel great." For them, that's their normal. It's the same with women, too.
Right. How much of that is exercise and diet, though?
A lot of it.
Exactly.
A lot
and that's what I try to explain to people, too. Like, Randy, again... You're 6'4", 295 pounds. How much of that is your shit diet, dude? Like, and I think of the average male non-gym goer, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, your estrogen is probably higher than your testosterone.
Oh, our diets and our lifestyle, and the fact that we have plasticizers leaching into everything.
Plasticizers?
Yes, plasticizers. So
I'm listening. I'm like, what?
So almost everything we have in life now is made of plastic, right?
I'm so glad you brought this up. Okay.
And it does not matter what type of plastic.
If it's
BPA-free or not.
BPA-free, right?
Plasticizers are what give it the moldability and the stability.
Okay.
And those will always break down over time.
Over time.
Always.
Dude.
And those are leaching into our water system. Mm-hmm. They're leaching into our food. Everything.
So, you're so awesome,
and
by the way. Like this, I'm so glad you brought this up.
I went to a conference a couple years ago that scared the shit out of me. There was this one guy, and he was a little off the wall. People were saying that he was crazy, but he predicted that we would be a sterile race in 200 years. And it's just because, he's like, we're watching...
No, I could see that.
Species of fish are no longer producing males. Amphibians that are no longer producing males. And it's becoming, a huge problem down the food chain. It's only a matter of time. We have lower testosterone now than our parents did 50 years ago.
Right.
Just as a general population, our hormones are screwed up. And a lot of that has to do with diet, lifestyle, because stress does play a huge role, and we're much more stressed. But also the amount of plastic does impact us. There are a ton of different things, but that scares me.
I don't disagree at all. So, two things. about plastic that you like. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's neat. So Ben Greenfield,
Yes.
you know who he is?
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of Ben Greenfield, and I didn't know it. I listened to Joe Rogan, actually, podcast with Ben Greenfield, and he brought up about supplementation. They were talking, and he's like, it doesn't matter what supplements you take. The moment you drink out of a plastic container with that supplement, it's contaminated. And I was like, wait, what? And I just started working a job where I was taking my gallon gear with me, right? And I was drinking every day, and out of this gallon gear, and I would do a gallon and a half, 2 gallons sometimes of water a day, which I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm healthy. Hey, right? I started feeling lethargic, dizzy. I was getting bad nosebleeds. But it was like everyday use, like for 3 months straight, nothing but this plastic, just consistently drinking. What I wasn't taking into consideration was I was leaving this jug in my truck.
Oh, geez.
In the heat. So every day that I'd get done with it, throw the jug in the back seat, the jug would be in there, whatnot, and then I'd be using the jug. Well, I heard that podcast with Ben Greenfield, and I'm like, okay, wait, what? Right? So I did my research, and I was like, no more gallon gear. Got rid of it. 2 weeks later, no more lethargic, no more dizziness. My nosebleeds weren't like nowhere near prevalent, like, other than my red blood cell count for obvious reasons. But like it's just one of those things. Like I was like, I had no clue. It was eye-opening for me to say, like, it was crazy. But the other part of plastic is, have you seen the videos? And we'll pull it up on YouTube. There's people that try to melt snow. And so he's going to pull it up on YouTube. This guy, snow's falling, and there's something weird about the snow, the way the guy is seeing it fall. So he takes this ball of snow, type in ball of snow won't melt, and he takes a lighter to a ball. And he's not the only one that posted a video like this on YouTube. And he compacts this ball of snow, and he takes a lighter to the ball of snow, and it's turning black. It won't melt. That there's so much plastic in the water that it actually like becomes like an issue. I'll play it here in a second, but it's just scroll down, Rob. I think it was like actual snowing outside.
Oh yeah.
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 Right there. That
This
one.
guy?
Yep. That's it. And could cut the audio just so we don't get pulled. We get demonetized every fucking episode because I'm an asshole. I say something every episode that gets us in trouble. Yeah, we haven't even been monetized yet. We owe YouTube 11
This
cents.
episode's doing good though.
Yeah.
So
She only dropped one F-bomb. So, but look at this. Like it won't melt. That's
oh
an
my
issue.
God.
Is that not crazy?
Yeah, that's so fucked up.
And that's what we're drinking.
Oh.
You're good.
Yeah.
So. But that's what we're drinking.
Well, like, people call me a hippie because you see, I came in with a cooler. 'Cause everything that could
Yeah, you
possibly...
can leave that, by the way. That's neat.
Thank you. I've got my, like, canteen, my glass containers, and yes, I stopped at Starbucks, but most of the time I actually take my own canteen in, and they're like, oh, you're such a hippie, saving the planet. And
I have 2 of them. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't want that shit in my system.
And that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And
I have 2 of those. So.
Like, my mom had breast cancer. My aunt had breast cancer. Like,
God, melanoma, breast cancer. Yeah.
My sister died last year. Like, every cancer runs rampant in my
How
family.
old was your sister?
She was 42.
My apologies. That's young.
Yes, she was
I
very
just
young.
had a buddy, Josh, wow, God, what was the cancer? It deals with your nervous system. It looked like grapes down the back of his neck and head. His brother just passed away. I forget what it was. Deals with the nervous system cancer, but it's ridiculous. Like, they thought it was gone. He wasn't feeling right. They went back in. It looked like grapes in the back of his neck and head.
Yeah, with my sister, it was a brain tumor caused mostly by the chemicals that were absorbed within her body. So she always smelled fantastic, but she was a girly girl, had like her hair products, her lotions, her perfumes. Like, she was the Bath and Body Works queen. And those are all harmful chemicals that you're putting onto your skin, which is your largest organ. And it got to her.
That's...
And there was a lot of other things, like we didn't grow up in the healthiest environment and
No, but
stress and
you're
stuff,
talking like for somebody who is I can't say this word. Why do I always fuck these up? Esthetician?
Esthetician.
Esthetician? Yeah. Anyways, you talk about all these beauty products that your sister had issues with, but yet you deal with that line. Is that part of the reason why you went that route?
Yeah, there's a reason that my company is called Bare Aesthetics. I deal with a lot of all natural products now.
Okay.
They're medical grade, but they're biobotanical versus chemical. And it was because of her that I went that route. Like, I was already a little bit of a hippie. I haven't worn regular deodorant in years. But
I didn't want to say anything, but no. No, yeah, I fucking with you.
But when she passed away, I was like, no more. No more. Like, there's nothing.
So what's with regular deodorant that you...
The aluminum.
The aluminum. Yeah, Alzheimer's, they say, and all that bullshit.
And breast cancer, too. Like, you're putting it right near all those glands that are in your...
lymph nodes. And,
No, don't do that. There's plenty... Natural deodorant has come a long ways. I never get anybody complaining that I stink.
Right.
Like, there are essential oils that can kill the stench. You may sweat a little bit because the aluminum is what blocks that, but sweat or cancer? I'm going to go with sweat.
Yeah, or move from Arizona.
I've thought about that.
I am really trying to leave. I've been here, got stationed in Texas when I was in the Army, went to Afghanistan, back to Texas, back to here. I've been in it all my life.
You're over it.
Yeah,
You're over
I'm
it.
done. Yeah, I get a little bit of snow, and I'm so excited. So.
And me, I moved from the snow. I was like, you don't have to shovel sunshine.
Where was it?
I moved from Portland.
Portland, Oregon? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of snow in Portland?
No.
There's more rain, right?
A lot more rain, sideways rain, fog.
Hippies.
Yeah,
No.
I like it. I am a hippie. Actually, I didn't even know I was a hippie or hipster until I moved here. And then they're like, people were telling me that. I was like, in Portland, they think I'm like a yuppie. So.
Oh, really?
But here...
Wow. That's crazy to me. My foster brother, he's stationed in Washington, and he's just like, dude, he's like, you have a beard, and all you're missing is the man bun, and you'd fit right in.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I'm very liberal in my social aspect of life, and very conservative in my politics, social life.
You're libertarian.
Yes. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. It's not part of politics, and people seem to think that like that bullshit's all whatever.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, that's not politics.
That does not matter. It does not affect me at all. So whatever.
So where do you go from here? Like, what do you? So you have this thing happening in November. I don't know how much you can talk about it because you seem kind of reserved.
Yeah, well, it's because it's like still being negotiated out, and
do you need me to go hit somebody? I know a few people that swing a hard pipe.
I've got it under control.
All right. Monkey wrench? No, I'm just.
We're good.
All right.
So until like everything is solid, there's a lot of question marks still.
Gotcha.
But ideally, I would like to go more to the nutrition and hormone therapy route. I didn't spend a decade in school for nothing. Mm-hmm. I love aesthetics, though. I will never let that go. And actually, my doctorate studies have made me a better esthetician because I deal with a lot of like hormonal acne. Unlike most.
What's the number? I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize. There's a certain drug that doctors prescribe for acne.
Accutane.
Starts with a D. Dicycline?
Dicycline?
Yeah. Is that for acne?
They sometimes prescribe antibiotics for acne.
Oh, okay.
But Accutane is like the most popular. for severe acne, or it was the most
Hormonal
popular.
acne is legit real.
It is legit real.
My family has acne issues regardless of hormone use or not. Like my brother's 42 now. Fuck, I had to do the math because he's 5 years older than I am. Anyways, and he still has acne issues, and it's like, yeah, I'm not even joking. And he just now got on TRT, and so it's like, how the fuck are you having acne issues? Like when you had issues, like low testosterone usually doesn't cause acne, right? Or
it depends if estrogen's high.
okay. Well, maybe that's what's wrong. Shit.
But estrogenic acne versus the more testosterone-based acne presents itself differently. And you tackle it differently too. So, and that's where like I've gotten even better at my job. And especially like I'm one of the only estheticians that I know of that goes deep into diet.
Okay.
And so again, like my higher education, though it's been super roundabout and doesn't seem relevant to the beauty business, it has made me a better esthetician. And I actually built my business quickly because I was approaching dudes at the gym being like, I can help you with your back acne.
Yeah. I have scarring. Like for me, like that's what I can't stand. Like I had somebody when I was at a young age, try this, had no clue what the fuck I was getting myself into. And that's what started my route down that alley. Yeah. And it was like from that point, like I was like, oh, okay. And then once I learned my body, that's when I kind of regulated what I did and how I do it. But yeah, I guess that would definitely be a great clientele, like to go after.
Oh yeah, and it's like it was a dirty little secret for the longest time. Like I would walk into the gym, look around, and be like, at least 10 of these guys are my clients, but nobody ever talked about it.
Oh really?
Oh yes.
That's good. I like that though. Like at least you're making, you know, your friends on and clients at the same time.
And when it worked, they would refer me more people. So in the beginning, other than lashes, my clientele was almost all men.
Yeah, did you bring a pair for me today or no? I'm fucking with
lashes.
Yeah. No, I'm fucking with you.
That's how I had to break into the females though, was I had to start doing lashes and then I could get them in for skincare. But to start off with, like I had probably 90% males.
That's crazy. Well, I'm a customer. I want to come in.
Come on in.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I want to check it out. Well, you want to throw out your IGs and promote your business real quick, please?
Sure. Most people can find me at the Causey Effect, which is my more popular one.
Okay.
But then I also have a business page, and it's Bare Aesthetics. It's bare.aesthetics.
Bare.aesthetics. And it's Hey, can you not, guy?
BARE, and then aesthetics, AESTH. Aesthetics.
Why'd you do it that way?
It's actually the proper spelling of aesthetics. We have gotten lazy and dropped the A.
Gotcha. Makes more sense. You got anything else you want to say?
Oh, you got anything else you want to ask?
Tell a joke. We have
no pressure.
No, we used to have a segment that we've gotten away from, and it's because too many people that would listen to the show would come on and be like, oh wait, are you gonna make me tell a joke? Well, that's part of our, like, we only have like one segment we do. Other than like a segment, it's usually just a conversation.
Yeah, I like the conversation.
Yeah, and then so like people quit doing jokes, and then it just kind of like went away. So if you got a joke in mind,
I don't know how to actually tell a joke. Whatever I say is like usually just off like the cuff.
The cuff.
And
well, I go follow at the Causey Effect on Instagram because you are funny. You're hilarious. And then you do Friday Funnies, which is today. What's the backstory behind that?
Okay, Friday Funnies got started actually around Valentine's Day. So
that's god awful.
Yeah. Well, since my divorce, my girlfriends and I have, like most of us are divorced. I don't know what that says about us, but whatever.
It's 2019. That's what it says.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real.
But anyway, we a couple of years ago got to where we would just send like each other funny cards or funny memes, like to laugh about it. Because even when I was married, I never celebrated. I thought it was the dumbest holiday ever. But
Same here.
This Valentine's Day, I was like, if I think this is hilarious, what about all the people out there? Maybe they think it's hilarious too. So I had like 50 memes and jokes lined up, and I just let loose all day, and got
Ton in return.
Like, people were sharing it like crazy. I mean, I don't have like a small following, but my stories went through the roof with people sharing. And about a month later, I was stressed out with school and life and just having a really shitty day. So I was like, I've got all these memes that I think are hilarious but are probably inappropriate for most people.
Right.
I'm gonna let loose, see what happens. We'll just see. And it took off. Again, I got this huge spike in my stories. My inbox was blowing up. People thought it was hilarious. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do it next week. And then the next week. And they're never ending. Eventually I got to where people were just all week long sending them to me, like for Friday Funnies. And now I get like, I think last week I had 3,000 some odd views on my stories. Whereas like an average day is like 800 to 900. So people...
God, I need tits. Like, seriously, we get 1,000 views a week. Like, if I was a female with tits, we'd get a lot more to the podcast.
I don't have tits, but...
Yeah, you're a female. You have tits.
True.
Yeah.
But not like...
I wasn't saying like you're endowed. I'm just saying in general, like, apparently I need a pair of tits to get views. Like, Jesus Christ.
Start doing the show with your shirt off.
There we go. Show a little skin and it'll help.
And get stabbed in my sleep. That's all I need.
It kind of took off and became a monster. And like, I had to turn my phone off when I walked in here because Fridays it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
On how many
that's good though.
I get.
And I apologize. So, and I'm apologizing because I thought more people would understand my question, because you usually post ask me a question.
Yeah.
So you were on the road to somewhere.
Yeah, I was on a road trip to San Diego.
Yeah, and so the joke in my head when I'm writing it, because I'm an idiot, right? The movie Step Brothers, the part where they ask each other, what's your non-favorite pornographic magazine to masturbate to? But I'm like, I can't write that. So I'm like, what's your non-favorite porno movie? Is what I wrote, trying to be haha funny, thinking people might pick up on like the Step Brothers vibe. And I hit send before I got the full like thing, and I was like, oh Jesus Christ, that's awkward. Right? It's just, what's your favorite non-porno? Or something like that. And then like I was like, oh Jesus Christ, like that's so awkward, right? And then like you had replied and you're like, I'm not quite sure what you meant by that. Like, what's your favorite non-pornographic movie? And then I opened the floodgates to the creeps, and I apologize, because then people started asking all these like sexual questions because of my dumbass put the word porn in a question. So I apologize.
It happens like
regardless of me.
Every now and then I have to take a break from the questions because they'll get out of control.
Right.
And what I answer is a small fraction of what I actually get asked.
Gotcha. It's
kind of like my comments too. I delete a lot, and I probably block 100 people a week just because, like, I'm like, okay, that's too far.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of people having conversations all by themselves in my DMs that I'm just like, I just can't handle you right now.
Yeah, thoroughly embarrassed that I started that day though. I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm
that
an
day
idiot.
was like out of
Bad.
control.
Bad.
Yeah.
I know it was because you had posted in the story like, I think you said, "Hey, no more sex questions." And I was like, "Fuck, that was my fault." And like in my head, I'm just trying to be funny, like Step Brothers funny. Like, oh, I felt so fucking bad.
People are fascinated by my love life and my sex life.
Why? Like, it's none of their fucking business. Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure, like, I see these women out there who are absolutely stunning and far more sexual than me, and I'm sure that they are getting absolutely bombarded.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how you do
Berated.
that. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't. Like, I block and, like, I don't deal well.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too, about Instagram that I can't stand. Like, I look at... Like, we do a quality show. Are you having a good time?
I'm having a good time.
Right. We do a quality show. And, like, it's like some of the shit like we talk about. Like, I've had a hypnotherapist on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was a really good show. Had a spiritual medium on. Interesting. Like, we've done a lot of different topics. But because I don't have tits and ass on my Instagram page, we can get more than 500 followers. It's like, and then you click on a chick who is an Instagram quote-unquote model who pays for their photographer to come take pictures of them, and it's like 43 million views, like, or followers, or it's just like, yeah, I don't understand it. So
I don't either.
I get where you're coming from with what you say, though.
Yeah, in fact, a couple of weeks ago, one of my friends was like, "Wait, did you buy followers?" It's like, no, but
if I did, bitch,
over my following, like once I got to a certain number, it suddenly like jumped, and now I get hundreds of followers a day. A lot of them unfollow me.
Put a little bit in there.
So they're trying to get me to follow them back, and I just am not fast enough.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about Instagram that I found out. Is that better?
No.
What? You're crazy. All right.
I like my boost straight.
Okay. What I found out about Instagram is like a lot of people add me, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, you're good people. I'll follow you back. And then a day later, I look, and they're like,
They dropped you.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
What is that?
I don't know. And then I'll get.
It's because I didn't show my ass.
I've actually been going through, and it's super tedious, but whenever I have free time, I like look at all my followers, and I didn't realize how many I had that are like, they don't have any posts.
Yeah, I get a lot of those on my personal page.
I was like, are you real? So I
Yeah.
just block them.
Yeah.
So I think like there's like bots and stuff out there that just go and
Guaranteed.
follow a bunch of people.
Guaranteed. I guarantee. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it, but whatever. I don't care about having a following that much. Like, does it translate to business? Great. If it doesn't, then what's the point?
Outside of work, what do you do for fun? Other than eat fucking sauerkraut.
I haven't had a whole lot of fun lately.
Come on. You got to let loose somehow.
I actually have really good friends, and we try to like get out of town and do stuff. But
Gotcha.
with grad school, I have not done a whole lot. I used to travel all the time, but basically working out is my fun.
Yeah, stress relief.
Yeah.
Let's just go with what it really is.
Yeah.
So I when we were talking, I actually looked to see mutual friends. How do you know Mike from Paradigm?
This is gonna be embarrassing, but
Okay.
so I watched a lot of your YouTubes and listened to your podcasts, and I actually went through and followed all those people.
I love you. Thank you.
You're-
No, I mean that. Like, I'm glad you follow.
Yeah.
Like, we get a lot of people that like they subscribe, and I'm like, hey, did you watch this video? Like I mentioned you, it pertained to you, and they're like, no. I'm like, oh. All right,
Well, I think that's the point. Like, you're supposed to
We're
support each other.
We're worldwide right now, actually. It's like the crazy part. Like, we have people in Argentina. Was it?
Sweden.
Norway, Africa. Yeah, like
Awesome.
Brazil.
Yeah, like we've been worldwide, and it's like we average about 1,000 or so people like listens a week,
Yeah.
and it's all over the world. And like I don't understand. Like I can't get people fucking Phoenix to listen to us.
Well, like, so when I saw you were local, I was like, oh, I have to follow back.
Yeah.
I follow anybody who's local back.
Oh,
So
there you go.
I mean, we could run into each other. We could be friends in
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah.
Real life.
And that's the big key. In fact,
Yeah.
September 8th, Mike, Paradigm Subs, they have a class we're going to try to go to do a film. You need to get your ass out there and get beat up a little bit.
Okay.
So it's all tactical training. It's running. It's basically calisthenics with learning how to shoot a gun.
I
So
like that.
yeah, you'll have fun. You should come out.
Okay.
September 8th. It's at Self-Made Training Facility. Have you been there?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, before you leave, we'll get it all worked out. So.
Okay.
But all right. Well, I just want to take a minute to thank our sponsors, Creek Water Whiskey. Even though they're not a sponsor, they're a partnership. We'll go with College Bar and Grill. Veterans and college, go out and support Mr. Joe Healy. They had a great time on opening kickoff for ASU last night. Anybody else you got, Rob? What the fuck Customs?
Yeah.
WTF Customs. Custom Fabrications. If you have any metal fabrication needs, please go and give them a look-see. Find them on IG at...
WTF Custom F.
Yes. All right. It doesn't matter what you want. RV gates. We have security doors. What else? Anything metal, really.
Anything.
Yeah.
If it's metal, it can be done.
Sex contraption.
Yeah.
That was our original sponsor. All right. Well, that does it for Whiskey Tank Talks. I'd like to thank you, Miss Causey.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it was a blast. I had a good time. All right. That wraps up for Whiskey Tank Talks. Thank you.